What's up, guys? EnderUnknown here. I'm going to be working on a new series today, and it is going to be a dungeon crawler RPG with window forms, or whatever. Because last time we did one with text-based, but this time it'll still be text-based narrative, but we're gonna add a graphical user interface and make stuff a little better than we did in the last one. So I'm looking forward to working on that, so we're gonna get right into it. So we're going to start by creating a new project. Make sure to select Window Forms app, .NET Framework. So yeah, to make sure it's not the, I don't know where it is, but there's a uh, there might be a .NET Core or whatever. We don't want that. We want .NET Framework. I'm gonna just call it, I don't know, Dungeon Crawler. And I will save it. So just give me a second while I do this. I've probably blurred my screen, but you can save it wherever you'd like. Select folder. Okay. And then just once you have all that figured out, make sure Windows Forms app is selected, and we'll just press OK. And it'll create our project. So today will probably be another longer video. I really want to get the core of the game down. We're hopefully going to go past the uh, complexity of the last one. This is not necessarily a beginner's tutorial. If you watch the last one, I'll try to make it build off of some of the stuff we learned, but we're also going to be making sure to um, conduct better practices. Anyways, the first thing we're going to do is actually delete the form 1. Open up programs here. I'm going to create a new win form, and we are going to call this so eventually we're going to add a main menu and a character selection and all that stuff, but for the sake of today I just want to get the encounters, so I think we'll just call this game, as boring as that is. Game window, or just game, and make sure that's Windows form. Yeah, so you guys can spend time customizing this. I will probably just go over the basic controls. There's a lot of stuff here that you can do with these. Um, so that's neat. I guess before I forget, I want to go change this in the program to create a. Um, okay, so I like having a reference to the operating program, and I like having that as a static field in um, the program class. So we're just gonna have a public static game called game instance, and down here in the void main method here, we're going to set game instance is going to equal a new game, and then application run game instance. There we go. So yeah, the first part of this is actually going to be more so just creating our menu. So yeah, you should have a toolbox thing up here, but if you don't, I'm pretty sure you can enable that. Yeah, here in view, so you can just go click toolbox, or it's what, Control WX. Seems like that's what the keybind does. So we can change a couple things, like the title here. I don't really want to spend too much time. You guys can explore these options. I would definitely recommend changing the color. I might do that because it's really bright. So I guess we'll call this Ender's, not Gungeon, Dungeon 2. Because I think that's what I called the other one. The back color, I kind of like making it a nice gray. And changing the font to, I don't know why, my favorite font that we can use here is Lucida console. I think that looks really nice. But yeah, you can just configure that. It'll probably mess with your Windows size here, but that's fine. Everything else I think we're gonna leave for right now. Eventually we're gonna want to set a minimum size so that they can't like collapse it down like this, because this isn't doing anyone any favors. But we will do that in a little bit. So this is gonna be like our encounter, and maybe later we'll programmatically set this to show the player's name or the encounter or something, but I don't know. And again, you guys can lay this out however you'd like. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go find a label. I guess it's alphabetical, so here we go. Got a label. We are going to... See, do we want to... I wonder if lighter colored text would look nice. I don't know. That'll be up to you guys if you want to do lighter colored text or not. I think this is good. I also do want to make the font considerably bigger because this is going to be our encounter label. So we'll be setting this programmatically, so I'm just going to call this encounter label. And down here we're going to also want to call it encounter label. So pretty much this is what's going to be programmatically set to display the encounter that we are currently in. And actually, you know what? Yeah, I think we will do. Yeah, I think that looks good. We'll do that. We will do light. And then I'll go see if we can make the background a little bit darker. That's too dark. I suppose there's custom, so I guess we'll do that. Again, this is all up to you guys. So yeah. So we'll have an encounter label. I would definitely advise looking around with and playing around with the panel object. Where's that? Panel. Is that what it's called, I think? Maybe not. Okay, I want to figure out what it is. Oh, containers. Yeah, no, it is a panel. I don't know why mine isn't showing up there, because what you can do with the panel is go change the color, and you can make like really nice looking interfaces just by using the panel here. So I don't know how much I'm going to go out of my way to make this look really nice, but I would definitely advise you guys to, if you're trying to make this as like a game that you'd, I don't know, sell. Yeah, so we have the encounters label. We are going to want to have a area for what characters can do. So again, just messing with these colors here. I do apologize if that's really boring to just see me mess around with the colors. So yeah, we'll have this be like actions. Or actually, I think I want actions on the left. Well, no, then that's different. Okay, yeah. Again, you guys can figure this out. And then we're going to want a gigantic text box here. I think we want a rich text box, because this will be able to span multiple lines. So I think we'll just do it in can I make that look nice? Maybe. And of course this is a bit bright, so we'll go turn that down. Or actually, we could just keep it the same as the background. That's what I'm going to do. So what is this? Just normal gray. So I'll grab the rich text box, gray, we want to use rich text box? Probably. It has multi-line, which is kind of what we need. So if we go add a bunch of text, it should be able to figure out what to write. So we'll just call this encounter text or prompt, actually. We can go edit. We do want it set to read only, and multi-line needs to be true. Yeah, here's text, so we can this is the encounter prompt. We can programmatically edit this box. And of course that is really small, so make that a little bit bigger, a lot bit bigger. Try 16. I don't think any of our prompts are going to be longer than that, so what is this at? Button highlight. We just want to go find, yeah, the nice thing is you can just type that in, so button highlight. There we go. And I'm pretty sure this does do line wrapping, but I want to double check to make sure that it is. Yes, so it does do line wrapping. So pretty much we're just going to give it a big string, and it'll just print it to the best of its ability. Of course, if we made it bigger, I think it would fit programmatically up there, but oops. Yeah, so it is important to label these. So this one's encounter prompt, this is encounter label. So this is going to be the name, and this is going to be describing what you can do, and then this is going to be the action. So this is kind of like the console from the last one, console. And instead of typing in commands, you'll have buttons to press. But we'll make those later. So actually, I'm going to name this as well. This is going to be called Actions Panel. One thing that I think would be cool if I have time would be to figure out a way to add mod support to this. I did it with another one of my programs that actually should make a video on. This will just be called Backround Panel. Okay. So I don't know. I think this looks okay. I hope you guys made it look better than I did. I don't want to really spend too much time. Okay. Accepts tablet. Blah, 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 blah. Word wrap true. Zoom factor. Locked. Oh yeah, okay. So we have to also set up anchors. Anchors are kind of what's gonna hold our hold the different objects to a certain area. So this one's fine. It's anchored to the top left over here. So no matter how we manipulate the frame, it'll move that to make sure it's in the top left. This panel, we want probably top right bottom, I would say. Top bottom right. This back panel, we're going to just want all of the sides. And this encounter prompt, we're going to want top left bottom. And then now if we save that, and we did figure this out and run it, it takes a second to build the first time. Yeah, here we go. So we can move this, and actually we're going to want this to extend if we move the side like this. But they go down, we can move it. Of course it's too small. We're going to solve the size thing here in just a second. I do want to fix this, so if we add this extra side, even if we pull like this, See, it'll just change the text will automatically wrap, which is really nice. Yeah, and then of course we get a scroll bar. So yeah, we do want to set a minimum on this. So click on the frame, and I think this current size is a good min. So if you see we've got a size here, I'm going to copy that and put it in minimum size by just pasting and pressing enter. Now when we start it, I'm not going to be able to, like, I can't push it in any farther. I can't make it any smaller. So yeah, I think that's nice. Full screen, of course, looks like this. I would maybe add more padding. I don't know. Again, I guess you don't play a console game in full screen either. If you're typing commands always, it's hard to know. So I guess that would be up to you guys if you wanted to add more padding on the bottom, so it just wasn't the entire screen was just this big blob. And I actually think we do want to make this a little bigger. So we actually are, annoyingly, we do have to delink this from the right. So this is why I maybe should have emphasized sizing everything before. But I suppose that's fine before we set up anchors. Yeah, there. So now you go into full screen. That is more proportional. Okay, so enough with the design aspect. We'll get into more about programmatically setting this in a second, or a little while. We're going to want to start by making encounters, though. So instead of last time, which it was like a single method, I think we're going to want to make a different system here. So we're going to want a new item, a new class, and we're going to just call it encounter. We'll add it. So it'll be a public class encounter. So essentially in our encounter, we're going to want a string, and this is going to be called the title. We're going to want a another string, and this is going to be the description. And we'll have to do some more with actions and whatnot later, but for on the basic level, this is what every encounter is going to need, is a title and then a description, or actually we'll just call this prompt. So yeah, I guess we could start by defining some static encounters. And actually we're going to want a constructor on this. So want a string called title and a string called prompt. And then set the title equal to title, and this is prompt is equal to prompt. Then of course, usually you define static things at the top of a class, but this is going to grow, and I don't really, well, we could just make a separate class. I don't know, for the sake of today, public static encounter, first encounter, it's going to equal a new encounter. The title is going to be called, honestly, I've no idea. I did not think of a story or anything, and I don't want to reuse the old one. So this wouldn't even have to be a dungeon, but it is a dungeon, so I don't know, your title here. Or actually, let's do, okay, we'll do the classic. Hello, world. And the prompt will be, you kindly greet the world with your cheer. Yay. Okay, well, that looks fine. We are going to want to make a helper class, which we are also going to want to create a new item for class. We'll call this game runner program. Game engine. I don't know. We'll just call it game engine. Does it technically does it technically meet the requirements to be a game engine? I have not the slightest clue, but maybe. So let us see. We are going to have a so the game engine's pretty much going to be doing a lot of the logic for our game. And as such, we are going to want to have probably a instance of it. Just call it instance. Oh, yeah, namespace. Silly me. I'll just make that mistake. Nope, it has to be in your class. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we'll have an instance of that, and pretty much what we are going to want to do is start by making a method, which will be to we'll just call it set encounter. And it'll take in an encounter. So then what we'll do is we're actually going to want a game window called game. And when we create this, we are going to want an instance of game called instance. Game is equal to instance. Then in program, when we create a, we're also going to want to make engine. Oh yeah, we need a new game engine with a instance of our game window. Or, I mean, you could, I think it's frowned upon, but you could literally just put everything in the game's code, the actual thing here, the form, which I think that's viable. I don't know necessarily why. I read somewhere that that wasn't like what you're supposed to do, but I'm sure you can do it anyways. I am going to try to be showing quote-unquote good programming techniques, so I won't do that for this video, but yeah, so anyways, we'll set game engine to or instance to a new game engine that's passed in the game. Perfect. So yeah, back in game engine, when we set the encounter, we are going to want to get games, what would we call it? Counter, I suppose those are private. Okay, so we are going to have a method in there. And actually we can just copy this. So to get to the game, you can go right click on the form here and press the view code. It's also F7 on your keyboard. And we're just going to want to add a method. So I guess I can just paste it in like that. So set encounter, and we are going to want to take the encounters, what do we call it? Encounter label dot text is going to equal the encounter dot title, and the encounter I called it prompt dot text is going to equal encounter dot prompt. There we go. So yeah, that's pretty simple. I guess for the sake of simplicity, we will just have game engine start us off by doing game dot set encounter equal to encounter dot first encounter. And we will press start, and we've got hello world, you kindly greet the world with your cheer. So that is working perfectly. So yeah, I don't exactly know what I'm gonna put in the title of some of these encounters. Awakening. Pretty sure that's how you spell that. Awakening. It's time for some storytelling. I will keep it brief. You look up. You look up. No, that sounds okay. Storytelling here. You awake in a cold room. What do you do? Okay. They're kind of lame, but I guess we'll take it. So when we go back and do players and whatnot, that stuff, excuse me, um, we will work on making the encounters flow a little better. But for right now, this is what we've got. I think we're going to start by adding some actions. And yeah, so I'm going to take a little break here, and I will be right back when we plan on doing that. So now that we are back, we are going to want to be working on populating this action panel with, well, actions. But to start, we're going to need a new class here. We're going to call it action button. Action button. And pretty much what this action button is going to do is it'll be a template for a button that we'll be able to draw on the screen. And so pretty much what we're going to need is a string called title. We're also going to need a what's called a delegate. And I don't know, these are best kind of explained by showing they're pretty much a function that can be swapped out, or that the function doesn't have to be it doesn't point to a single function. It can be swapped out and invoked using a command. It's hard to explain, probably easier if I just show you. So we're just going to make a delegate void. Okay, I don't know what happened with my recording software. I think everything's all good now. Anyways, we have a public delegate void do action, and essentially this is like a function, but we can pass it in different values for it. So we're going to want a public do action called action. And yeah, so essentially it's going to pass the encounter in so that we can use the encounter to manipulate the game logic or whatever. Okay, so inside of our encounters, or encounter class, we're going to want a public list of action button. We'll just call this actions. Do the same in the constructor here. Actions equal actions. And yeah, so oh yeah, we need to add actions. Silly me. I did not get good sleep last night, but still doing a video because I have about a month off for Christmas break, and I need to use that to make videos, because I would like to have a whole series recorded by the time I go back to school. Might be a bit ambitious. We'll see. I'll do my best. Okay, so of course this looks disgusting. I do realize that. We're going to fix that at a later point, and I realize that action button doesn't have a constructor. Ah, public action button. We are going to need a string called text and a do action called action, or on click actually. Title is equal to text and action is equal to on click, and that is just dandy. While we're in here, sure. Public void do click. Yeah, we call it do action, so we can do that. Pretty much this will just be the quick wrapper function that will allow us to call. So we'll want to do action and just invoke and pass in the encounter. So this will just activate whatever function we pass in as this action. So it's pretty simple. I'll do my best to explain. It's hard to understand at first, but then once you get it, it's really useful. Another thing I want to cover is predicates. They are very useful as well. Okay, so we ever do click encounter. So yeah, new action button. We need text and then on click. So the text is going to be, I don't know. This is kind of just a sample, so I guess we'll just make exit. Exit game. As silly as that is. And then a new do action button do action. We treat this just like we treat a method. And we do a lambda expression and into this. So I know this looks just disgusting right now, and we'll fix it later. But pretty much anything inside these two curly braces is code that is part of our action that we're creating. So for exit game, we don't need to do anything about the the encounter. So all we need to do is environment exit exit code, not -0. We'll do 7. I don't know. Give it a number. And of course we'll make this go back to the main menu and other fancy stuff later, but for right now that's just an easy way that we can get this working. So that's all fine and good. We have our list of actions here, but they don't do anything. So we have to go into our game. I want to add a flow layout, that's what it's called. And this is pretty much just a really nice grid. So we'll go, need to make sure it's on this panel. Yeah, so we'll actually just go down. We're going to rename this to action layout. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and instead of anchoring it, we're just going to dock it and press this middle. So that pretty much means it takes up the entire area. We might have to change that later if we add text or some other stuff here. But for right now, I think this should be fine. And pretty sure that that is all we need to do. So it should have a... Yeah, we'll be able to just add stuff to it. So create like a child button or whatever. So yeah, we are going to want to, wherever we process our encounters, that would be in game here. So when we set the encounter, we're going to want to do a for each action button. We'll just call that action in encounter.actions. We are going to want to get our, what did we call it? Was it action layout dot create control create controls. I don't know. Does create control forces creation of the visible control? Usual children controls. Pretty sure we can just add it. Pretty sure button. We're gonna want to create a fancy button. Okay, so button is equal to new button dot text. It's going to equal our action dot, what do we call it? Title. And button dot click. Yeah. Plus is equal action dot. Can we do click? Okay. I had to do a little research there. Yeah, I haven't done anything with events in a while. So yeah, we can't just add this method. We're gonna have to make a baby class to do that. So public, or by baby I just mean small class. Class called action event. Pretty much it's going to have a encounter called encounter. It's going to have a I don't think we'll just need we need a action button dot do action called action. We're going to be able to create it from a constructor action event, and we'll call this we need encounter. We need a action. Set this up. That is my bad. This is a really simple fix. And of course you could add this in the action button class as well. I'm just sticking it down here because I think it is just a small class that we shouldn't have to touch again for a while. Encounter is going to equal encounter. Action is going to equal action. We're going to have a public void. It follows this notation up here. We're going to have a public action called do action. Do action. If I can name it that, I should be able to. And object sender and event args. Yeah, so pretty much we're going to have the action. Nope, we don't want the action. We want the. We actually want the action button itself because it has a. It has the method. That's my bad. So yeah, action. We're gonna want to do action.doClick with our encounter. So up here, instead of doing that, we're going to create a action event. Event is equal. E is equal to new action event with the encounter being encounter, the action being action, or action button being action. Then we should be able to do button dot on click plus is equal to e dot do action. There we go. That should work. And then we'll add. We don't want new button. We'll just add button. Okay. Little crazy. We'll see if that works. I love my confidence. I'm very confident that it'll work. Well, there you go. We've got exit, and when we click it, it goes away. Now, exit does not look. Exit is not a particularly nice-looking button at this point. We're going to change that. Do we want to do that today? How long is this video gone? About an hour. So I guess, yeah, we'll just wrap up with this. And today will just be framework, and the next video will be really digging into encounters and mechanics. So yeah, you can make as many of these as you want, and you can pretty much have them do whatever you'd like, which is neat. So I mean, I guess if we added another... Oh, wrong class. Encounter. If we added another encounter, we'll just copy this for laziness. I don't know. First encounter. Very creative. We'll just call it tests. You wake in a cold room. Test. And instead of exit game, we'll have close game. And if you notice, it only said exit, but that's because we need to make the button bigger. And to do that, I want to say we can make a prefab. I'm not sure if we can make a prefab. I haven't done this before, so I'm going to go research that. Oh, yeah, and of course we have to add this to our... First encounter, and of course we will add a way to move between encounters. But yeah, now we just have test and close and does the same thing. I guess what I was going to show also is that you can add an additional action to... You could add this close here, like this. Get rid of first action. Go find... It's the end of that. Comma. Paste that in. When we start... Nope. Oh, yeah, I forgot to change it back. First encounter. Yeah, so now we have close and exit. So, pretty simple. I'm gonna go see what we can do about those buttons, and I will be right back. The best way I figured out how to do this was with a user control here. So we want to make a user control. We will call it custom button. Hopefully you guys can name it something a little more interesting. We'll go toolbox, we'll grab a button, drag it on here. So first we're going to want to go to the back here, the custom button background. We're going to want to set it, what color do we want? We want this as so dark gray as the background, because we want it to blend in. I suppose we can just paste that. I'm actually going to delete the button for now. We want our Lucida console font or whatever you guys want to use. And our for text is going to be button highlight. That should be all good. So we're going to go find our button, drag that on there. To the button. I don't know why its background is... Oh, here we go. We have to change it flat. Yeah, so you can change the style. So I don't like system and I don't like standard. Pop-up is okay, but ultimately flat looks the best, in my opinion. Very, very nice. So yeah, we're gonna name this. We'll just call it button. This text will be placeholder. We're going to want to go down to the bottom here and dock it with the entire thing here. I wonder, can we increase the size of its border? I don't think so. But yeah, then we're going to want to right click, select custom button, and use this to make it just a bit smaller. So I think that's a good size. I want to bump the font probably up to a 10, and just, this is a very long string. Does it fit? Yeah, so the actions we can have either just a really simple one like exit game, or we could have a complex one like, I don't know, two-handed combat with a sword. And yeah, so I think that's a good size. We'll maybe have to play with that a little more, so we'll just put placeholder back in there. You guys can customize this control to your liking, of course. I'm happy with what it looks like right now, and I think not that. That's too dark. I guess we could. White doesn't look any lighter to differentiate between it and the background. So maybe you guys are doing different colors. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess around with that. I don't have too much time for that. Okay, so we're going to go back into our game here. Actually, no, we're gonna go into the code of this. So pretty much, yeah, here we go. Open code. Pretty much everything in our game, like this button equals new button, all that stuff. That's what we need to do in our custom buttons code. So pretty much we're gonna have a method called set event public set action, I guess. And this will be public void set action. We're going to want a encounter, and we're going to want a, what else do we need? Action button, it looks like. Actually, no, we'll do an action event. Action event game. But we have to reference. See, this is why you guys probably should have made it not just embedded in game, but that is what it is. That's a thing. So yeah, pretty much we're going to be doing what we did here with the button, because the button will store the data. So pretty much all we have to do is get our reference to button and set its text equal to e dot action dot title. That's what we called it. And then button dot click is gonna plus equal e dot do action. No parentheses at the end of that because we are just appending on a delegate. And then that's all we need to do. Set action with. So yeah, we don't even need an encounter. We just need action. Perfect. Okay, so back in our game, this is all kind of useless right now. So if you hold Control and then you quickly press E and C, it'll comment everything else. And yeah, so that's just a neat trick. So instead of a button, we're going to want a custom button. I'm just going to call it button is equal to new custom button. Button dot set. Actually, we need an action event. E is going to equal a new action event with the parameters encounter and action. Button dot set action equal to E, and then action layout dot controls, not control added, controls dot add our button. And now if we run this, we should be able to see our custom button popping up. Yeah, there we go. So we got exit game, close game. You can tab around. They do look a little funny when you do tab, but that's fine for now. So yeah, we've got exit game, close game, and they work as normal. Yeah, so I think that looks considerably better. We'll be able to see they aren't like perfectly sized, so we might have to make it so that it'd be 3 to a row. I mean, I guess I can see if a third one fits, but I'm guessing it does not. Just gonna close some of these. We can go back into our encounter and add a new action. Like that, and we'll just call this another action. And it too will close the game because yeah, okay. So we are going to make this a little bit longer here. So remember to, oops, temporarily turn off the anchor to the right so that we can just make this a switch longer. We're going to want to select actions panel. Go like that. I'm sure we could figure out, I bet this action layout has a number or something that's like the distance between the contents. Layout flow direction, left to right. Size. Guessing margin is what it is. I don't know. We'll go re-engage the anchor down here, and we'll see if this fits all 3. Yeah, that's a little better. We can do some fine tuning. Yeah, I think I'll maybe just let you guys do that. The easy way to do that would be to add. Okay, so I guess I can show this maybe. I don't know if our custom button actually. Yeah, custom button does show up here. We can just add 3 in like that. Of course, we're gonna have to disengage our anchor again. It's really irritating, but it is what it is. Make sure we select our action panel, and we can just fit that so it looks more uniform. And then of course do that. Go re-engage our anchor. Save everything. Start. Well, we have our placeholders, which you'll want to delete. But there you go. So I guess I can do that on camera. That's fine. Anyways, that is all I'm going to have for you guys today. We have a pretty good start. We've got the basic encounter system going. We've got some various different actions. I see we are going to have to fix this with the text box. I don't know what's going on there. It's really not that big of a deal, but yeah, we'll fix that later. Yeah, so if you guys, as always, have any questions or comments, please just leave them below. I never mind answering them. GitHub. Yes, this was highly requested. I will be putting all of the source code on GitHub. So, enjoy. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and that's all I've got for you today. Ender out.